Started out as a one-piece, grew into a major piece. Tonight, we speak with Sleep for the Weary on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. That's kind of how the vision went, wasn't it?
Yeah, I would say so. It started small, just making some music in my apartment, and kind of grew from there. The first album was pretty much exclusively me, and then the second album, this new one, Nocturnes, that we're pushing right now. Eric gave me a hand on the bass parts.
You are the driving force. You are.
My name is Ian Shannon, and I'm the singer and currently the main songwriter, but that may change as the band grows and everything together.
You mentioned Eric a second ago. Eric, say who you are.
Hi, I'm Eric. I play bass, and tracked on the Nocturnes album, and now we're doing the full band.
You guys had come together, and there are about 3 other members in the band too.
That's correct.
And we'll get to who those 3 are, what all's involved with the Nocturne album, because as you said, it started out just this, gonna do this. And then before you knew it, it had kind of grown into a bigger project.
Yeah.
That's kind of a good thing, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like if it doesn't take off and you don't get any positive reinforcement back, it's like at the core of it, you if you're a creative person or a musician, like you're going to make music regardless. But when there is positive feedback and things driving that, then it certainly helps to keep moving and keep pushing things and putting it out there.
Sleep for the Weary, you would land yourself in what category?
I would put it in alternative rock, but that may not be entirely accurate.
There are some hints of progressive that kind of pop out.
Yeah, influences from Tool and Middle Class Rut and Metallica and all sorts of stuff.
Elements of post-hardcore make an appearance a time or two.
Sure.
We're going to get a chance to listen to some of your music a little later on, talk a little more in-depth about the vision, the direction of the band, and who else is in it, too. So we continue our conversation with Sleep for the Weary tonight on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Tonight, we learn more about Sleep for the Weary on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. Introduce yourself again and say who you are, what you do in your band.
Yeah, my name's Ian Shannon, and the singer at the moment, but up to this point, I've been a primary songwriter for the first 2 albums.
And my name's Eric Woodrow, and I am bass and always have been bass for Sleep for the Weary.
And who else is in the band?
We've got Rodrigo Sebastian. He plays guitar. We've got John Hurst, and he plays guitar as well. And on drums, we have Rob Edmondson.
What do you call home?
I would say Nashville, but John still lives in Evansville, Indiana. So he actually makes like a 2-hour trek to come practice.
That's devotion.
Yeah.
Evansville, nice town.
Yeah.
I spent some time knocking around there.
For sure.
Seen quite a few big shows there. There's a lot of music that comes out of there that probably fits with what you're working on.
Mm-hmm. Seems
like he's a good fit for what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a good friend of mine. He and I actually met in college. We both went to Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana, which is near where I grew up. But good friends there. We studied philosophy together in college and eventually went our separate paths and then reunited to do some music together.
And your philosophy leaks into your music?
For sure, yeah.
You guys have the motivation behind Sleep for the Weary is basically, as the name of the band implies. I believe you have up on your website information about that as far as...
Yeah, I guess the name kind of stemmed from, got anything that you need to express or any troubles on your mind or anything kind of burdening you, that it's a way to kind of express that and give rest to the troubles that you've got going on.
This started out as a project that you were working on. Mm-hmm. So did the name for that come from the beginning, or did you pick that up later on?
I left Indiana and left most of the family and friends that I knew. My wife came down with me and felt the need to still make music, even though I didn't have my band anymore that I was in up there. So it just kind of was an outlet for that, and then sort of learned how to give it more structure, and I had to give it a name. I didn't just want to call it the Ian Shannon band or project.
It wasn't so much that you went to Nashville because you were going there to make music as it was the music just kind of followed you there.
It's going to be there for the rest of my life, so I got to do something with it.
So finding the other members of the band, they just happen to be lying around?
Well, I met Eric and Rod working together at a music store in Nashville, and we became good friends. They were in a band together at that moment. That band has since kind of dissolved as far as that particular project. I decided that I wanted this to become more than it was and wanted to be able to do some live shows and maybe get some other people in, because I've been writing and recording and mixing and mastering everything by myself. And eventually that becomes an awful lot on your plate.
Eric, how long have you been making music?
I've been making music forever. I'm from outside of Omaha originally, so I played in some like hardcore metal bands there, and then lived in Phoenix and played in a pop punk band. Moved here, did more metal, and now I'm doing the alt rock metal thing with Ian, and this has by far been my favorite thing I've done so far.
And coming from that background, has it been a transition to lighten up a little?
Not so much. I've always loved and appreciated metal, but I've always listened to more of the lighter side of rock and grunge, and that kind of stuff has always kind of been what I listen to rather than the extreme heavy metal and punching people in the face, that kind of stuff.
Well, we call it lighter. I don't know that I would really say that. Open Your Eyes, one of the tracks that you have.
Sure. That one I would say is one of the more alternative songs on the track. It has some heavier elements to it, but that one is purely expressing, if you have any sort of ever experienced any sort of depression or anything like that, if you've gone through any serious emotional strife, that song is a way to not only express and communicate those. That's usually the first step of overcoming some of those things, is just talking about it and getting it out there, but also moving on from it and providing some sort of silver lining to the cloud. So that's what that song's all about.
So Open Your Eyes. Sleep for the Weary on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. We've had the chance to hear their sound, and we're going to continue talking about where it comes from a little bit more with Sleep for the Weary tonight on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. I've got Ian and Eric in with me, a couple of guys. The other ones tried to make it, just schedules kind of got away from them. So I think we talked about how you two kind of got together. You worked at a music shop a little bit. So where did the rest of the band come in?
I had met John in college and kind of decided that I wanted him to join us as well, if he was open to it, make the 2-hour drive to come to rehearsals and things and potentially shows. Rod, I met same time that I met Eric at the music shop that we worked at and everything. And Rob was the only one that I hadn't met prior, and Eric and Rod had known him previously from working with him. So we went out to eat one night and they introduced me and everything went really well. And so we just kind of decided at that point, we felt like we had a cohesive unit of like-minded people who really
So
wanted
the
to
recruitment of John, Rod, and Rob had nothing to do with your love for J.R.R. Tolkien, and you just really wanted those initials in the band?
Yeah, it was just a coincidence there.
Yeah, see, I called you out on that. I knew. Well, you were that philosophy major, so, it had to play a role in it. Well, you do have to come from some kind of a background that has not similar playing styles, but similar interests when you're forming a band like this. You said you and John went to college together, so you kind of had that background going for you. And you've been making music for quite a good while. As far as getting out and performing it live, had you done that? Have you had a chance to do that?
With this project, we have not yet, but we will. We do have a show that we've booked for July 9th at Daisy Dukes in Nashville.
As far as getting together and jamming, I think we said one of your members driving 2 hours. So how often do you get a chance to get together and do that?
We do it once or twice a month, but when we're not together, we really hammer it on the individual practice. We try to look at when we all to get together as a rehearsal, but we try to make something tight.
How do you handle the production of your music?
Everything has been done at a home studio. The first album, Into and Out From, was done in an apartment that I lived in. And just being careful not to have like stomping neighbors or whatever bleed into the mic. Did all of it there, wrote everything, tracked it all there, mixed it there. I had a friend of mine master it, but this album, I had since moved into a house with my wife, so had a little bit more isolation. And I think it turned out to be a much better product, but still all on my own with my home studio for the most part.
So your man cave was your production cave?
For the most part, yeah.
Not quite as much fun for the sports and stuff, but still.
Absolutely.
Well, how often do you get a chance to get out and practice with him there, Eric?
It's pretty much just been the once or twice a month when we were tracking the album. I think I was over at Ian's house every week or so, just running through parts, bouncing ideas off of each other, trying to get things from demos to full tracks. Since we've completed the album, I have a home studio as well, so we just bounce stuff back and forth.
Thank you, Dropbox.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
They should get like
technology.
royalties from bands or something for all the work they helped
Oh,
do.
yeah.
We're going to talk some more about this new album that you've put together. We're going to get to another one of the tracks on there and find out a little bit more of Sleep for the Weary as we continue tonight on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. Everything's heading towards the big shoe as we talk tonight with Sleep for the Weary on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. I say big show. It's your upcoming event, kind of, because it's going to be your chance to get out and perform as a band. You've been rehearsing. You're going to do this in July. I think you said you've aimed for, where was it?
July 9th at Daisy Dukes in Nashville.
Originally, you did most of the songwriting, putting the tracks together and stuff. Having the other members in now, how has the contribution from them been?
It's been very good. I think they've been very thirsty to start being creative themselves. Eric was really great during the recording process of Nocturnes because we got to really meticulously work on like the bass tone and like these crazy effects and how can we structure this. So he gave me a lot of really positive input on that. But with Rod and John and Rob, they're very creative guys too. And so we've got this record that's ready and out there, and we've got a lyric video out, and we're booking some shows. They want to be creative too. So it's like we just put this out, but we've already got stuff that we're writing now as a group that
I was getting ready to ask, having that, because you said you'd started with this. So I'm sure now that they've got all these ideas that they're bringing to you, and you've got probably a handful of songs that you probably have in your head.
Oh yeah, I think at the last rehearsal we just kind of started jamming, cranked out a couple songs that could probably be ready to go if we just put our mind to recording them. And I'm sure if we can get that done in one night, there's plenty of other ideas that the rest of us have.
How has it been taking what they're giving you and incorporating it and learning to, because up to this point, it's just been you. So now you've got these other ideas that you're like, his is definitely better than mine.
Sure. Yeah. There's certainly moments where it's like, why didn't I think of that? Or like I find myself in recurring patterns or things that I might do. But even with stuff that we've already got, as far as like how we were going to translate them into the live setting, because I didn't necessarily write these songs as like, oh, this is how many band members we're going to have, and this is what each one of them is going to do, and this is how it's going to translate perfectly into a live show. It wasn't like that whatsoever. So we have to get creative. Like we've got strings and different things on the record. How do we make that happen live?
Or if at all. Or do you
Exactly.
just scrap that and go back to a simpler
Yeah.
setup?
And John and Rod and Rob for sure have been contributing and saying, okay, well, here's the problem. How do we solve it? How do we recreate that? Are we going to start playing samples? Or are we going to be a keyboard player now? Or are we going to figure out a cool way to make the instrument that I know sound like something it's not? And so there's a lot of really cool things that we've got.
So it's
going
giving
on.
you some more challenges that you're looking forward to.
Absolutely.
Figuring out how to make them work. Some of those challenges I'm sure probably going to come from Leviathan, because there's a lot going on in that song.
Oh yeah.
Where does that one come from?
Leviathan, there's a lot of different stuff going on this album, but Leviathan stood out as kind of a fantastic sort of scenario. It's like mythology almost, and kind of drawing on the concept of going too far down a path and not being able to correct the mistakes you've made, getting yourself so far in the hole that you can't get out. And that's what that one's about. But conceptually, with the music and the production of it, you actually can hear like, this is a peaceful, calm sea. This is a turmoil sea. And this is a struggle going on here. And there's parts, like the bridge is just noise for the most part, but we try to orchestrate it in a way that it becomes a musical thing itself, even though it's just organizing dissonance.
Lends to theater of the mind, so you grow a little bit as you hear a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep for the Weary. It's Leviathan, the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. We've been talking tonight with Sleep for the Weary here on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Could be talking to you next week. All you have to do is go to the website for information how at rock937online.com. That's kind of how you guys did. You sent us your stuff and we kind of talked to you from there. You're from up around Nashville, so it was kind of nice. We've got bands that stretch out. You got your first show coming up July?
Yes.
It's going to be at Daisy Dukes, July 9th. Where can they find you online to get details?
Well, we've got a website, sleepfortheweary.com. We've got a Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can check us out on all those. Our album is on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, MP3, Google Play. We're also have our lyric video for our single Obey that's on YouTube. So anywhere that you might expect to find music, you can find us. But sleepfortheweary.com is our primary website. There are SoundCloud samples that you can find on there. Well, not really samples; it's the whole song on there. but yeah, our SoundCloud page is where we're hosting a lot of that. But that is featured at the bottom of our page on our website, so you can definitely find music.
Simplest
there.
place to go then is the website. You've got links there, and as the show happens, you're probably going to have more dates lined up. Because as you said, you're working to try and figure out when you can get into other places.
Absolutely.
So all you got to do now is get John to move down closer, and you can make that happen more often.
Well, John's distance by no means is keeping him from participating. He's super eager to be a part of it, and he's been great to have in the band. But when you get past having one or two guys in a group, you've got 5 schedules to work with, and then you've got a venue schedule to work with, and so it does get more complicated as far as scheduling goes. But aside from that, the guys have been great and super helpful. Well,
we're looking forward to seeing how the schedule works out, what more comes from the band as we get to know more about Sleep for the Weary. Thank you guys for coming in to talk with me.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
It's been Sleep for the Weary tonight on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7.